Guys, it's Dave. I'm here at the Turtle Creek Cemetery in Turtle Creek, North Dakota. This is kind of, I'll call it centralist North Dakota. Cemetery is just right outside of town here. But I'm here for the graves of a family that were murdered. Only one survived, a little baby. Whether the murderer knew the baby was in the cradle or not, we don't know. But he left I think it was about a 7 or 8 month baby to live. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Wolf family murders here in North Dakota. Talk about their lives a little bit, and then talk about the murderer, and then we'll visit their grave. On April 22nd, 1920, on the Wolf family farm, 3 miles north of Turtle Lake here, John Kraft, a neighbor, had found the 8 bodies 2 days after the murder, when he noticed that the family wash hanging on the outside line in soggy weather. He had noticed it earlier. Thought it was kind of weird that they was still out there. So Kraft discovered the bodies of Jacob Wolf, 41, and his 2 daughters, Maria and Edna, 10 and 8, in the barn, half covered in dirt and hay. Shortly thereafter, he discovered 5 more bodies in the cellar of the home. They were Jacob Wolf's wife, Beta, 35, and 3 other daughters, Bertha, 13, Lydia, 6, Martha, 3. Across the body of Beta Wolf and her 2 daughters was another victim, Jacob Hofer. He was a 13-year-old chore boy and a son of a neighbor. The only survivor was a baby girl, Emma, almost 9 months old at the time. Kraft found her in a small bedroom, in a cradle, lightly clad and weak from hunger and cold. So I'm thinking this child, this little baby, 9-month-old baby, had been there for 2 days before Kraft just thought, well, it was kind of weird that the laundry was hanging out, in the soggy weather. Went and investigated and found all the bodies. So who was the killer? Well, they believe it was Henry Lair, another neighbor. He had an argument with Jacob Wolf about his dog biting one of Lair's cows. Lair was the first suspected of the crime when he showed up on the Wolf family farm while the sheriff happened to be there investigating. Lair was eventually arrested for the murders on May 11th, 1920, and he confessed just a few days later. He was sentenced to life in prison, but he would die at the state penitentiary in 1925, just a few years after the murders. About 5, actually. They had a mass funeral for the family, Wolf family, right over there with the bushes. And, the whole town turned out, like 2,500 people turned out. And they were buried side by side here in the cemetery. So Jacob, the father, he was a Russian immigrant. His birth date on the stone is incorrect. He came to this area, the country, in 1902. He worked in North Dakota before moving to Turtle Lake in 1903. He homesteaded about 3 miles north of Turtle Lake, so off that way. Got some pictures of the farm here. Some years later, he moved the building to another site further south, in 2.5 miles of town. In 1905, he married his wife. So here are the graves. We'll go do the graves. We'll talk about the survivor, one daughter, and we'll talk about the murderer. So, site needs a little bit of maintenance here. Unfortunately, it's been allowed to be overgrown quite a bit here. You can see the stones though. So here's the main family stone. So if you can get a look at it here. We'll see it a little bit better here from the street. This is just right off the side road here. And here's all the stones. Well, let's look at the main family stone first, and we'll... Not sure what that says, but you can see it says Wolf at the bottom there. So we have Jacob, the father, Beta, the mother, and then we have her children, Bertha, Maria, Edna, Lydia, Martha, and then we have Jacob Hoper. He was the chore hand of the family. He was a 13-year-old boy, not a child, but he was buried with the family since he lost his life with the family. Quite the stones here. It's got like a limestone base. Like I said, I'll walk around it here again. Unfortunately, it's been allowed to grow up quite a bit. I mean, it's been well kept. I'm not saying it's not being kept up, but it unfortunately hides a lot of the stones. Alright, so the murderer, Heinrich Layer, L-A-Y-E-R. Like I said, murderer of 8 folks, a family of 7, and a chore hand. He was sentenced to life in prison for the murders on May 13th, 1920, and died in prison on March 21st, 1925. His grave is unknown, although it is suspected to be in the area by his family. So he was born Heinrich C. Layer on November 12th, 1884 in Eugene, South Russia. He came to the North Dakota area and lived until 1916. He was married, had children, but he was divorced. He married a second woman and in 1912. And like I said, he was sentenced to death and died in prison for the murders of the family. Like I said, quite the stone arrangement. Trying to get it all in here, it's kind of hard with the fence here I'm up against. But tragedy of a family here in Turtle Lake, North Dakota. But like I said, this supposedly began over a dog bite, and it sounded like a lot of people knew about it, kind of the argument. So he was, like I said, he was very much a almost an immediate suspect in the murder of this family. All right, there you go, guys. We'll do one more walkthrough here. This just reminds me a lot of the Villisca axe murders in Iowa, although that one remains unsolved. But an entire family killed by an individual or individuals, and unfortunately, all buried in a similar situation there in Villisca, Iowa. But there you go, guys. The grave of the Wolf family of Turtle Creek, North Dakota. But let's go talk about the survivor. Remember, there was a 9-month-old girl that had survived. Her name was Emma. Born July 26, 1919, and died October 16, 2003, at the age of 84. She too is buried here in the cemetery. We'll go to her grave really, really quick. After the family's death, she was raised by her mother's sister, Christina Hofer, and her husband, Emmanuel. Emil and Vera Haas were appointed her legal guardians after the death of her aunt and uncle. She attended Minot State College and obtained his teaching certificate. She married Clarence Hansen on September 29th, 1940, and they had three children, Priscilla, Curtis, and Sheila. So let's go find her grave here real quick. All right, guys, we're here in block 73 of the cemetery looking for Emma Hansen, Emma Wolf Hansen. She was a surviving daughter. She was an infant child that survived the brutal murder of her entire family. Emma Hansen, 1919, 2003, died at the age of 84, buried beside her husband Clarence W., 1916 to 2009. She is buried, well, you have two different maintenance sheds here, one with the garage and the main little office. She's right across from the garage here. Pretty easy to find there. Her family just buried off in the distance over there. You can see the larger grouping of bushes and trees over there. So she's not buried with her family, but she's buried in the same cemetery. Like I said, she survived by either being unnoticed or spared. No one knows. Everything I read, couldn't find any information on that. What led Heinrich to Layer to spare her. I mean, they were neighbors, so he clearly knew that she existed. Whether he just forgot about her in his rage and she was quietly sleeping, or he spared her for some reason. Again, 9-month-old child. But that didn't spare the other children, who were all young as well. 4, 5, whatever it was, 6. He didn't spare them at all. So I just think he forgot about her, and she probably lay silent, quietly sleeping during the murder of her family. And like I said, she was raised by her aunt and uncle until they passed away, and then raised by another family after their passing. Sad story. It's an entire town. It's just that shocking brutalness of it. It's unbelievable. It's a beautiful, well-kept cemetery, though, guys. So again, Emma Wolf Hansen, the sole survivor of the Wolf family murders of Turtle Creek, North Dakota. All right, guys, thanks. Guys, hope you enjoyed that video of the Wolf family murders, the graves of the Wolf families that were murdered by their neighbor Henry Layer. Again, all seven of the 8 family members killed, and one shorthand, all killed by this man who, over a dispute over a dog biting a cow. Clearly, this Heinrich Layer was not a well man mentally to be doing what he did, but just a tragic story. And again, it reminds me a lot about the Villisca axe murders, just in the sense that the entire family was killed. So, all right, guys, please like, subscribe if you haven't already. I post grave and cemetery videos every Sunday except the second Sunday of the month. Save that for my Goonies stuff. And then I post some other videos throughout the month, just stupid stuff, me being goofy, trying foods I hate, and that sort of stuff. So anyways, guys, thanks, and until next time, see ya.